Hi, Dan Cladd here, your Executive Life Consultant. Last night I was reading a book and I wanted to share part of its message with you today. The book was called The Pledge, and it's by a guy using a pen name of Michael Masterson. Okay, so he tells a story in this book about when he was 13 years old and one of his teachers in high school made an example of him in class and said, Mr. Masterson is, maybe she was talking to the class, I think, and using him as a third person voice, saying about him that he gets C grades, he doesn't show up on time for class, he doesn't do his homework assignments. He is the stereotypical example of an underachiever. And that was kind of interesting. And for the teacher to point him out to the class as such, and then she went on to say, if someone is capable only of doing C grade work, then that would be acceptable. And yet, she thought that he was capable of so much more. And that's why she was calling him out as an underachiever. And in this book, he's saying that he couldn't say anything because her comments were spot on. He couldn't deny them because they were true. And that's kind of interesting too. And so in high school, he had already had this reputation of being the class clown. So he lived up to his reputation and got C grades throughout high school. That wasn't enough for him to get a scholarship, at least, to a college. And his parents didn't have the money to pay for him to go to college. So that kind of limited his choices. Think about it this way. There is always a consequence to our actions. In this case, him underachieving or not performing or living up to his potential, not taking the work he was doing seriously, had consequences on him. So college was out for him, like a 4-year college. The only choice for him was a community college. And he paid for it himself with a side business that he had, running a painting company. So I'm going to bring this all back to you shortly. This is where it gets really interesting to me. He finally got fed up with all the extra work that he created for himself by not taking his studies seriously and by his place in life as a result of the consequences of the choices that he made. And when he was 18, a month before he graduated, he kind of said to himself, I'm tired of being a screw-up. I'm not going to be a screw-up all my life. Otherwise, I will have a life of struggle and regret and guilt. And that's no way to live. So what he did is he decided right then, it's too late for high school. He can't do anything. He's got poor grades or average grades. And yet he knows that he's not an average person, that he's capable of so much more. So what he did was he decided that this is a great advantage for him to be in a community college because this is how he says it. I'm not saying this is accurate or not. This is what his assessment was. The people that go to the community college are similar to him. They couldn't get in 4-year colleges, and they were probably screw-ups like him. So he can be the king of them, or the number one, by taking it seriously. The way he said it was, there would be much less competition in school. In this school, and so he could excel among the, let's say, less than academically disciplined. This is how he characterized them. I did not go to community college myself. I don't know how accurate that assessment is. Anyway, so this is where it gets really interesting too. He started to, so I think it was right away that month before he graduated, or maybe it was right after he graduated, he went down to the community college. He drove there himself, and this was in '65, as I recall. He got all the literature he could about the college. He got all the literature, or everything. He did all kinds of research on all the classes he would be taking, all the teachers he would be taking his freshman year, all the books required. He didn't get the books right away, I don't think. He just got the list of books that he would be needing to have, and he did all kinds of research preparing himself to excel in this college environment. And that's exactly what he did, because he started to see himself not as a C student, he saw himself as an A student, and he started to prepare himself to be how he saw himself being. Notice a lot of parallels here between yourself and the way you see yourself. So then when class came around in September, another aspect of this is, as I mentioned, he had developed a reputation of being the class clown in school, and yet he knew that none of these people in the community college had ever known him or seen him or heard of him, so it was a clean slate. He could create himself any way that he wanted to be, and that's exactly what he'd worked toward and did. So then in September, the first day of class, he sits himself in the first row. I don't know if it was front and center necessarily. It was in the first row. He answered the questions. He raised his hand to answer all the questions that the teacher asked. And he made himself into the number one student in his class. And so it wasn't just mindset. It wasn't just self-image, where he saw himself as an A student. He took action behind that as well. So he did the studies, he read the homework, he did the papers, he did A-level work also. And he did get straight A's, I think. I don't know if he really said that directly. I'm guessing he did, because that's how he created himself. But this is what I want to say too. In terms of doing the work and putting in the commitment, the focus, the discipline, he had his painting business, and he had his classes, and he had his studies, and all of that took up 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's his commitment level. I don't know necessarily that he slept the other 8 hours in the day. I think that's a safe assumption to make. Maybe he did social stuff too and just slept less. The point is that he did whatever it took for him to fulfill his vision for himself. Notice how he redefined himself from a C student to an A student. And he transformed his life just with that decision to do that. And then he followed through on that with the actions. So how are you going to apply this yourself? I'm going to apply it myself because, and in fact, please join me over here at ibrokethenet.com/campaign. What you will see there is my vision. My vision is that all 320.7 million of us Americans have rebuilt greatness in our lives and are helping others rebuild greatness in their lives. no American left behind. And altogether, we have rebuilt the greatness within America, which still is the American destiny. And that's my vision, that's my focus, that's my purpose. And yet, I haven't put in the commitment level that he did, devoting 16 hours a day to his vision. And maybe I haven't necessarily become the person who does all the right things to have everything I desire, because I haven't put in 16 hours a day to realize my vision. I got a truck coming here, so it's going to get a little loud here. Apologize for that. So think about this yourself. I know that you have more potential than you have realized. I know that you can do more than what you are doing. I'm guessing it's important to you to have, well, I know it's important to you to have the things that you desire. Are you willing to do whatever it takes, even if it becomes difficult, even if that requires every waking moment you have? How badly do you want the things that you want? Are you willing to go the distance and do what you need to do until they are yours? So I'm going to ask that you make this video your pivotal moment, the moment that changed everything for you. Because just to put it in perspective, let's continue the story of this gentleman. He went on to go from, I think he said he went from the community college. I don't know if he went necessarily, I'm guessing it was maybe a 2-year school, and then he went to a 4-year school and applied what he did there to the 4-year school, and then he got his college degree. I'm just inferring that, but then it did say it did mention graduate work also. So I don't know if he graduated from graduate school or if he just took graduate classes. It doesn't specify that detailed. But that just tells me that he did maintain the momentum because he had become an A student. And he built momentum because he learned the habits of successful people. He did those habits, and that served him the rest of his life. So after college, well, anyway, I know of him as a very successful business person. I think I remember seeing somewhere that he was estimated to be worth about $80 to $100 million. And it all started by him making the decision, such as what you can do right now, to up the way he sees himself and to do what it takes to become that person, including whatever amount of energy and attention and focus and perseverance is required of him to do that. So that was very meaningful for me to read about his story in his own words. And I have now, I've always known what my destiny is with how we are rebuilding America. And yet I was reluctant to give it the focus and attention that it needed, or put in the work that it needed. And now I'm all in. I have revised the way I see myself. I've allowed myself to become the person that I need to become for this to serve its purpose. And that is transforming the lives of all 320.7 million of us, Americans, and rebuilding American greatness, which is the American destiny. So please join me at ibrokethenet.com/campaign. And I believe the training that you will receive there is going to be substantial in terms of you living your goals, desires, and dreams and fulfilling your potential. And indeed, that's what it's all about. You rebuilding greatness in your own life and helping others rebuild the greatness in their lives, and all of us working together to rebuild the greatness which still is the American destiny. So, allow this moment to be the turning point for you. And see, even the dogs are cheering you on. How do you like that? Share this video with others. Comment on it, like it. Let's get this information out there and allow it to serve everyone, because we need everyone in America actively rebuilding the greatness in their lives for us to have the impact that we are destined to have with how we are rebuilding America. So thank you very much. I appreciate you watching this and taking action on it. Thank you.